In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, peace be upon you. Apologies, I speak slowly. To speed up this video, click on settings, bottom right of this screen, then click on speed and select a suitable speed.
So if you have watched my other video, I've suggested that Prophet Elijah and Imam Mahdi are one and the same person. So now the question is, what is the sign of Elijah, peace be upon him, and Imam Mahdi? Or how can we test Prophet Elijah and Imam Mahdi? So if someone is coming forward saying they are a prophet of God, and these two are, or this one is expected, Prophet Elijah ultimately is expected, then how can we recognize him? How can we test him? Now, in my humble opinion, the sign of Prophet Elijah is he could make a sacrifice to Allah, the creator of the universe, and apparently he did provide a sacrifice to Allah at Al-Muhraqah, and Allah accepted that sacrifice, and the acceptance of the sacrifice was that Allah consumed the sacrifice with fire. So it is, and I've got an extract taken from Wikipedia that talks about how Prophet Elijah's sacrifice was accepted, and the prophets of Baal, their sacrifice was not accepted. According to the Bible, in 1 Kings 18, the challenge was to see which deity or god could light a sacrifice by fire. After the prophets of Baal had failed to achieve this, Elijah had water poured on the sacrifice to saturate the altar, and then he prayed. Fire fell and consumed the sacrifice, wood, stone, soil, and water, which prompted the Israelite witnesses to proclaim, "The Lord, He is God, the Lord, He is God." In the account, Elijah announced the end to a long drought. Clouds gathered, the sky turned black, and it rained heavily. So this is telling us that basically Prophet Elijah's sacrifice was accepted by Allah, and even though he was basically showing how powerful his own God was, that even if he pours water all over his sacrifice, Allah is still able to consume it with fire. And apparently even the stones and the soil burnt from the fire that Allah sent down. So those who want to represent their faith, we have a lot of Elijahs going round in the world, and there's a lot of Christian prophets going round in the world, and there's a lot of Imam Mahdis going round in the world. So if they want to prove that they are the true prophets of Allah or God, we could organize a date of gathering in a location, preferably where Prophet Elijah made his sacrifice, but I'm sure any other place would be acceptable, any other clean, holy place. And if it is truly a prophet of God, and Allah wants people guided correctly as a result of this individual, then God, or whoever you call your God, if he is the correct God, will send a fire to consume the sacrifice of the true in faith. I would like to see the richest families in the banking and corridors of power aligning themselves whichever person is of their faith, and if they align themselves on a side whose sacrifice is not accepted, then they certainly need to be arrested and tried for corruption, war crimes, torture, sex trafficking, promoting pornography, paedophilia, murder, promoting drug dealing, child or baby killing, baby consumption via food, medicine, makeup. The crimes are endless. You know, there's so many crimes I could add to this list. So similarly, failing prophets should be arrested for misguiding people, and those of no faith, they could even stand there, that they are the most powerful people in the land, especially if they're part of the US military and NATO. They can stand there with their fighter jets to consume the sacrifice. They can send their fighter jets to consume their sacrifice, but I do believe that Allah would not allow their jets to be successful in such a situation, and I do have faith that the true God would destroy their power, inshallah. So I suggest a date of challenge to be early September 2018, and this date or this time could be promoted to whoever you believe is your prophet, or Elijah, or Imam Mahdi. I've got some people who suggest they are prophets in the picture below. There's another gentleman whose picture I've put on the right. He's claiming to be Imam Mahdi, and he seems a nice enough person, peaceful, with a bit of humour, but yeah, he just seems like a funny person, just having a joke really, sometimes in his videos. And this event should be promoted via press releases to TV channels and newspapers. And if you're a prophet or consider yourself a man of God, to be of the true faith, then you could take up the challenge. So as always, I pray that Allah guides us, protects us, gives us peace. May Allah guide the Satanist, Antichrist and the devil to the straight path. May the ultimate success be that all creation unite for truth and justice. And may Allah allow humans to know that they have inferior wisdom and knowledge compared to Allah. And please, Allah, again grant us guidance and forgiveness. Make our children be a source of peace for the parents, and the parents be a source of peace for the children. And please, Allah, make me a source of peace for all. And may I achieve martyrdom by defending the vulnerable. Allahu Akbar and Allah Hafiz.